Hello everyone. I'm hoping that today everybody can hear me. I'm hoping today everyone can see me. I'm hoping that Facebook has stopped the madness that I have had for the last couple weeks, and that this hopefully has fixed the issues. I have uninstalled the app and have restarted it again. So I am hoping you all can hear and see me. I don't see anybody has popped on yet, so I'm kind of hoping that when somebody does, we can see and hope that the technical difficulties have been solved. I am coming to you today from the kitchen. Bristol and I have had an interesting last couple 13, 14 hours, because last night after our walk he started barking. He was in our room. I let him outside and we had a friendly skunk visit us last night, didn't we, Bristol? Yes, Bristol got sprayed by a skunk again this season. So that's twice that Bristol has been sprayed by a skunk. And so yeah, we've had an interesting couple of 14, 15 hours since since yesterday when he was sprayed by said skunk. So those of you who are on, Carol, hello, welcome. Can you hear me? Does everything seem to be okay? I have uninstalled the app, reinstalled it, earpods in, so I'm hoping sound is back, that things are back. I've got some thumbs up, so perfect, thank you all. So yes, Bristol and I are here after our uneventful skunk-filled, bath-filled time, but here we are, and coming through loud and clear. Amazing, thank you, Carol. So what are we going to make today? I actually contemplated this for the last 3-4 days as to what to bake. My oldest daughter is here from Montreal for the summer. She's vegan. Some things that I have made this week that have been both regular meat and non-meat alternatives. We've done burgers. So I'm thinking about doing a vegan burger next week to show you all. It was delicious, completely easy to make. Probably not something that those who are not vegetarian nor vegan would have thought about making. I've done a bit of epicure vegan things that I've incorporated into our diets as well. I always personally do at least 1 to 2 days no meat. It's just something I've done. So I was just trying to play around with some different recipes. So actually today's recipe is because I am having my parents here for Father's Day, so I want to have a few things. Plus my freezer is full of dead bananas. That's what we call them at our house. Ripened bananas would be the official word, but we call them dead bananas. Bristol loves banana bread. Bristol loves mini muffins. And that's what we're going to whip up today. So I have taken, actually, I probably had about 15 dead bananas. I added them to our blender and just mashed them up, okay? Completely just mashed, nothing else. I let them partially thaw. If you do love and have some great dead bananas in your life as well, frozen, and you put them into your blender, frozen, you can make some nice cream. It's excellent. You add a little bit of vanilla to that and even a little bit of chocolate, then you've got some chocolate banana nice milk. Add a little bit of coconut, and you've got some coconut banana chocolate nice milk. Barb, FYI, this is a great thing to make in your blender. So anyhow, it just goes to show that you never know what you're going to use your blender for. So today, we've got the bananas, and we just whip them up. So what I have done as well is I have actually put some bananas aside. So I'm going to make some vegan mini muffins. And a lot of times I've just happened to make a vegan muffin because I am so busy and I forget. I don't actually follow a recipe. It just goes with what I do. They're vegan and they happen to be gluten-free as well. And I just wanted to show you what I have done because I'm getting prepped and ready for the muffins, is I've done an egg substitute. So what I have done is I've just taken 2 tablespoons of flax to 6 tablespoons of water, and I'm just letting that get thick. You can see there how nice and thick that is, and that is the egg alternative that you would need. So if you know anybody with an allergy to eggs or vegan and you just want to make that alternative, it's really simple and easy. It's actually what I did in the burgers as well to kind of help stick them together. So it's a great and easy alternative. So what we're going to start to do today is, this recipe is actually a low fat and a low sugar recipe. I also add applesauce to mine. Now I do personally make my own applesauce. Not everyone does, and that's okay as well. There's some really great applesauce. I tend to suggest using a no sugar applesauce. So if you do buy an applesauce, a jarred applesauce, suggestion would be just don't use one with the sugar, because we are going to add some sugar to our banana bread, obviously. And we're also going to be adding a bit of chocolate chips. So I also tend to, in my recipe, lower the sugar content, because between the bananas and the chocolate chips and the applesauce, you're getting enough sweetness there. This recipe also calls for some Greek yogurt, and when I do the applesauce, I do half butter, half applesauce. Now, I am actually going to be doing a double loaf, and we're actually going to be using our loaf pans today. So our stone loaf pans, if you don't have them, they are incredible. Very, very easy to use. This is the one product that I would suggest always spraying with the kitchen spritzer. In this kitchen spritzer, I actually have just a sunflower oil, so just a nice light oil. I will suggest that you do spray your loaf pans each and every time. I find no matter how often or how old my loaf pans are, that I still find they do work best when you do spray them. And this is the older version of a stone pan versus the newer version. And the newer version has these waves on the bottom. And the reason that the waves are there is that you can actually preheat the loaf pan. Now, you don't need to preheat it for a banana bread or like a sweet bread, a zucchini, a lemon loaf. Any of those I wouldn't suggest preheating. But I do suggest for a regular loaf of bread, a white, sourdough, any of those. In the spritzer, are some oils better and some shouldn't be? So that is a really good question, Barb, and let me just touch on that quickly. The spritzer actually works best with a lighter oil. I do have another spritzer that has extra virgin olive oil, and another one that actually has coconut oil as well. Any of the lighter oils spray like crazy, and I'm going to show you. That's a great question. So I'm just going to pump it to get the pressure into it. Okay, so you can see there that the pressure is building, and that's to get the spray. And once the pressure is there, you can tell I can't get the lid on anymore, and the spray nozzle's there, and you can see there. I'm hoping you can see it. It just is a pure spray like you would of the can. The thing about the difference between this and a can spray is obviously there's no other chemicals in it. There's no junk. With the extra virgin olive oil, it's a heavier oil. You will find you will get the pressure into your spritzer, but it doesn't come out as a consistent spray. It kind of comes out as a line of oil, which is fine as well, but my suggestion would be maybe taking a paper towel and then spreading it out. I don't find extra virgin olive oil gives a flavor, so even if that's all you have for your spritzer, that's fine too. It's not going to give that weird flavor that you might think it does. But for baking and such, I just do prefer to actually have this. And you can see I've sprayed both pans, and the spray is just as strong. It's fabulous. Another suggestion is when you are done with this and you're gonna put it back in your cupboard, open the lid. You heard, I hope you heard that. That's the sound of the pressure coming out. You don't wanna keep, and then your lid will pop back on. You don't wanna keep the pressure in your spritzer because the bottom will actually start to bow out. It will not sit flat and it will start to warp and deteriorate. So just let the pressure out. You will find it does become a habit. Now, just because we're making banana bread, I happen to be making it in the loaf pans today because that's what I have, that's what I want to do. I will be making the vegan muffins in the mini muffin pan. The reason why is I love to shove those little bad boys in my yapper. They make great alternatives for protein because I will be adding flax and hemp hearts to them. I will also be adding some, they're going to be gluten-free and some pea protein, so they're almost like a protein muffin. We do put chocolate chips in them as well, so they do taste a little bit naughty, like a little treat, and that's why I can shove so many into my yapper. Another suggestion would be our brownie pan. Those of you who are fans of Pampered Chef and have followed me for a while, you know I adore my brownie pan. You know that I always am looking for alternatives to give you guys alternatives to what else you can do with your pans. These make really nice little loaves as well. This is a really nice little size as well to gift. So even if you know somebody's having a rough day or you're just sharing something with your neighbors, I mean, again, when we've got like 15, 20 dead bananas and you just want to get them out of your freezer, these are a nice little alternative to just give a little loaf to somebody. And we do also have a mini loaf pan, which I should have taken out to show you sooner. This is the mini loaf pan. This little sucker is absolutely adorable. What a great little gift as well to just, again, a neighbor, a teacher, anyone that you just want to say thank you to. This is a great little size just to gift. So again, what else can I do with my pans? What else can I do with my bananas? Today we're going to be making some banana bread and we're going to be making some vegan muffins. I will show you the vegan muffins afterwards because it's a really fast, gluten-free, easy recipe. You can put eggs in yours so that they're not vegan per se. But again, I don't taste the difference. And that way I know everybody in the house can do it. And just to note, like I said, I will be putting chocolate chips into it. So a great alternative for those who might be looking at maybe an alternative for a gluten-free chocolate chip. Just so you know, the Kirkland brand chocolate chips are vegan and they're delicious. Not quite as good as a Ghirardelli chocolate chip, but yeah, you know, that's all right too. They are very, very tasty. Easy to use, delicious, like I said, but they also melt just as well as any other chocolate chip. You cannot taste the difference. So even again, when you're wanting a little sweet treat, a vegan treat of any kind, or again, you just happen to, you know, trying to cut out some things differently, this is really great. Even melted in maybe the 1 cup, and maybe taking a banana that's not dead and dipping it in and making yourself a little fondue. So great things that you can do with your things. So we are about to make a banana loaf, guys, that's easy, delicious, low fat and low sugar. I will be making 2 different loaves. One loaf is gonna have chocolate chips, one is not. One's gonna have some walnuts in it. And again, let's get started. So what I have here, what a cute little gift, right, Nicole? How about some little banana breads? FYI, I put myself on a few wait lists today for my vaccine, and this morning I got a notification from Costco in Windsor that at 5 o'clock today I could go get a vaccine, but Dave thought that was a little crazy. So I'm going to hold off and hopefully find one in Toronto. But Nicole, wouldn't that have been great just to pop into Windsor and get my shot and visit? I find my goodies stick a bit to the mini muffin pan. Carol, I would suggest letting them cool a little bit. It might be that. That's a great tip. Oh, here's what I was looking for. And I'm not sure if you have this. This is the butter dripping off of it. This is the spreader. It's like the alternative spreader, our all-purpose spreader, except it's rubber on both sides. This is normally what I actually use for my mini loaf pans to take them out. I do let them cool for a little bit longer than I would normally. The other thought would be you can use a tiny bit of spray, maybe on a paper towel or oil, and then patting it. It might also depend on what you're cooking in your loaf pans. And sometimes that does make a difference. Hello, Pat. Glad you're all here. And glad everybody can hear me because we've had technical difficulties for the last week. So I'm glad I uninstalled the app and reinstalled it, got my earpods in, and so hopefully everybody's going along. So I have here in my stainless steel bowl, I have the bananas that I have mashed up. I am going to add a cup of applesauce because I am switching out some butter. I find that the applesauce gives it that a bit of sweetness, but it also acts as a alternative for butters. I'm sure most of you do know that, but it's great. I'm using my measure old cup, filling it to the top, and just dumping out my applesauce, which is great. I actually made a mess there. So I always start with the bananas and I add everything into my bowl. Okay, so I've got the applesauce there. I'm going to be adding about a half of a cup of butter. Now I like to pre-melt my butter. I like it to be runny, completely runny. It doesn't have to be hot, but it's fine. And I'm gonna add about a half a cup. Okay, so I've pre-measured that in my silicone bowls there. That is the 1 cupper, and I just warmed the butter into the microwave and then just had it going. So again, I like to add my wet ingredients together. I'm going to be adding 4 eggs. Okay, so again, my eggs are at room temperature. Again, with the butter and the, how about not adding eggshells? With the butter being warmed, I like my eggs to be at room temperature, and that way everything just kind of together is in an equal temperature. The bananas are normally at a room temperature. I normally take them out the night before. This morning, I totally forgot that I hadn't taken the bananas out. For those of you who might have just jumped on right now and haven't heard the fun news, the Talbots once again had a visit from a skunk. This time it was actually in the yard, and Bristol 0, skunks 2. Second time this season that we have had a skunk. So last night we were still bathing said dog at 11, so I forgot to take the bananas out. So just another little tip, if ever, I normally throw my bananas right into the freezer when I see them on their way to go. I don't tend to take them out of the peeling. I know some people do and put them in a container. I'm a bit lazy. I just throw them into a certain drawer in my freezer. So I could just put them in warm water and they thaw very fast. And again, I put them into my blender and that's what blends them up. So again, everything is in and around the same temperature. So that is the key for me. Okay, so I've got all my wet ingredients there. I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of vanilla, but because I'm using the Pampered Chef double strength vanilla, that's only gonna be 1 teaspoon. Just adding the 1 teaspoon there. And then I'm going to add 1 cup of Greek yogurt. Now, it doesn't matter what Greek yogurt that you do use. Oh, I should use the big one. Doesn't matter the brand. You can also use, if you don't have any Greek yogurt at home, you could also use a sour cream. Because I'm trying to keep this a bit lower fat, again, which is why I've taken the butter and I've cut the butter in half and added the half amount of applesauce. I do tend to like to have as much of the fat, the low fat, as I can. Again, I'm just filling the measure-all cup to the top, pushing that along, and then just scraping the bottom. I love my measure-all cups. They come in 3 sizes. That's the regular size. It's a 2-cupper. we have the mini, which is a 1-cupper, and then the cutesy little petite, which I love because it does the tablespoons. And as you all are aware, the Measure All cups do both dry and wet, which is super convenient, especially for us bakers who tend to have everything that we possibly can use for measuring we're going to. So this does not look very appealing. All the wet ingredients are there. I'm now going to add sugar. So I have a 1 cup pre-measured, packed, as you can see, brown sugar. A lot of recipes call for white and brown sugar, and so when I am substituting sugar out or trying to lessen it, I actually tend to keep the brown sugar and just substituting out the white completely. And because we're going to do the 2 loaves in here, that's why there's so much wet. So all I am going to be doing is putting 1 cup of the packed brown sugar. This is the 1 cup prep bowls. Again, I've talked about these so many times, and the reason I love them is that the fact is they are measuring. All I did was just take the brown sugar from my container and just pack that right in. I didn't have to worry about fiddle farting around with another something to measure. The fact that they're pre-measured for me, they're great. And I just want to show you, this is the 3 cup, which I have measured out 2 cups in the 3 cup. All of them come with lids, which is great. So if I'm not going to be cooking with this right away, I could toss that into the fridge. And again, the fact that it's pre-measured is just another one of the handy things that us bakers who are out there absolutely love, because it's another alternative. So I've just added the brown sugar to that. Just trying to get the clumps out. I am stirring with just the regular size mix and scrape. I tend to, when I'm baking, use these as well because they do scrape in my bowl. I can then put them into the bread pan. Obviously, there's no right or wrong, and you could do whatever you want. I think I have bananas everywhere. Okay, so we've got all of our wet ingredients in there. And I'm going to add the baking powder, baking soda, and salt. And so there's 1 tablespoon per each. Tablespoon of baking powder, baking soda, and salt. So this has got 2 of each, obviously, because I'm doubling the recipe. I'm just going to pour that in. And I do always add my dry ingredients just to my wet. I never, when I'm making breads or muffins, I just keep adding to the same bowl. I don't normally do 2 different bowls and measure. I normally don't do that ever. And I'm just going to add the flour. And this I'm going to add slowly, 1 cup at a time. So this recipe is going to call for 4 cups of flour. So I'm going to add the 3 cups first and stir that in. And if it is a bit wet, I will add alternatively some extra flour, because when I do my bananas for a recipe like this, I don't normally measure out my bananas. I love when they say 2 ripe bananas, and you're like, what size ripe bananas? And then for somebody like me who does 12 to 15 bananas at a time, you're thinking, well, what kind of cup? So what I normally do is I tend to start looking at what the dough looks like, and I'm going to show you in a second. You can see there it is starting, it's thicker. You want it to be a sticky consistency, and already as I'm stirring, keep in mind the baking soda and baking powder and salt are in here already. So the science of our baking is already starting to work. And again, why I like to keep things kind of at a room temperature. So everything, and you can even feel the bowl, it's not too cold, that everything is in and around the same temperature. So you can see it's starting to get sticky. It's not quite there, so I'm gonna add the other cup that it's calling for. I am making my cups a bit heaping because I can tell that I might wanna add a little bit more flour because there were extra bananas today. Another thing that I can say is if you're finding in your recipe that your batter is a bit thicker than you normally would like, another alternative would be to stir in a bit more of the yogurt and or sour cream. Alternatively as well, you can also add a little bit of almond milk or any of the lighter milks that you would normally have in your house. A little bit of even a table cream if you're finding it's too thick to help thin it out. I wouldn't suggest the applesauce. I find that applesauce, if you add extra applesauce, it does tend to make it, it changes the consistency too much that it then doesn't bake as well. So you can see there, my brown sugar is clumpy here. Okay, you can see here it's getting a little bit, it's almost there. I'm gonna add about 3/4 of a cup more of flour and stir that in. Again, it's getting thicker and there we go. That's a perfect thickness. Anybody have any questions? Love my silicone. It's so true. All of our silicone mix and measure. What is this called? Mix and scrape. Are so great, and the fact that they're non-stick. And just so you know, these are also good to 725 degrees Fahrenheit. So awesome to alternatively cook in your pan as well. They can be at such a high temp. Okay, so still think I'm gonna add a tiny bit more flour, maybe another 1/2 cup, and then we're good. Okay. So, like I said, I am not going to be adding anything else to these in the bowl. I will be adding the chocolate chips to one, and I will be adding walnuts to another and sprinkling on the top. We've got our pans ready, which I do not suggest preheating for a banana bread, or sweet bread. Great for a regular loaf of bread. Okay, perfect. We've got that nice sticky, and by sticky I mean, right, we want that look, it is bread. Now, we don't want to continue to stir it anymore either because that is a form of kneading. The more we knead it, the fact that our breads will not rise as well, they do not cook as well. I do have my oven at 350 and they're going to take about 55 minutes to an hour. You can see there, that's what I did with this one. Nice height, you can see there as far as the height goes. This is our new pan, so they can go to a high heat. They can also go in the dishwasher, and I will say that one is a brand new pan because I didn't realize I only had two. And when I'm doing something like a banana bread, I'm going to want to do a bunch of loaves because I'm taking all the bananas out. Fun fact about bananas, did you know if you take the peel and place them in water for 24 hours and then you pour the water, oh boy, around your tomato plants, you will get more tomatoes. Tomato plants love potassium. Carol, I did not know that. That's amazing. Thank you. I love fun facts. Fun facts are my favorite, especially with food. Okay, so I'm just going to pour this into the pans. And the fact that they're already buttered is awesome. Looks like I have a little bit more that I can put in this pan. This is why I love these mix and scrapes. I can not only mix in my pan, but I am actually cleaning this bowl out for good and putting it in there. So I am going going to take some chocolate chips, which I pre-measured. Where did I put them? If I were the chocolate chips, I put them off camera. I'm going to take some chocolate chips. Now these are a regular chocolate chip, but it doesn't matter. Like I said, I'm just going to put these onto the top. Then I'm going to take my batter scraper here, and I'm just going to kind of turn and spin them in there. And now we have what tastes like a naughty banana bread, and it's low fat, low sugar, but a chocolate chip, so really good for even a sweet alternative. This loaf, I am actually just going to take some almonds. I'm just going to crush some almonds. I like them to be a little bit on the whole side. Just going to sprinkle them onto the top. And I'm not even going to swirl them in. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of brown sugar, which again, a little bit of brown sugar. Check out my old Tupperware container, like an original. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of brown sugar. Again, I know we've cut the sugar in half, but this just is going to brown the top up nicely. And again, we've got some really easy, fast ways to whip up some banana bread. I will be posting this recipe. I'm hoping everybody is getting my newsletter. We did have, again, a technical difficulty putting that on in a 350 oven for an hour, showing you again this beautiful banana bread. This one is actually a combination. It is a chocolate chip with the almonds and brown sugar on the top. And I'm just gonna, all I've done is taken the all-purpose spreader and I've just kind of gone along, and the bread should pop out. Of course, like I said, this is the new pan. Sometimes with the new stone, they don't pop out as nice. Oh boy. There we go. It's coming. There we are. There's our beautiful banana bread all ready to go. Going to put it on my cooling rack for a few more seconds before I pop that into a bag. That is a gift that I'm giving to my chiropractor. So happy Wednesday. Just another few ways that you too can make some low-fat, low-sugar banana bread. I will be making some of the muffins. They're going to be gluten-free and vegan. I will pop them in afterwards and pop in the recipe. And I would love if anybody wants to share some other things that they do with the bananas in a bread or in a loaf. Like I said, the mini loaf pan, the mini muffin pan, as well as the little brownie pan. I love bananas. I love, even when they go bad, because this is what we can get out of it. So if anybody has a great alternative or something that they love to do with their dead bananas besides banana breads or a loaf, pop it in. Let's chat about it. Love to have it. Barb, I know, right? The old Tupperware is so great. Anyway, thank you all. Happy Wednesday. Glad everybody could hear me and that our technical difficulties got worked out. Have a great day and enjoy your bananas.